Hello everybody, I'm senior meteorologist Jesse Hawila with WFAA in Dallas, and we want to give you a statewide look at the upcoming winter storm. Let's start here in North Texas. Friday afternoon through Monday morning, we have a WFAA weather alert in effect because we're going to have rain Friday, but late Friday night and overnight, that'll transition to a wintry mix, and icy roads are expected to develop throughout the day Saturday. Very cold temperatures are on the way. Power outages cannot be ruled out. We want everybody to stay updated all week long, and remember the 4 Ps: people, pets, pipes, and plants. Here in North Texas, all of our region is under a winter storm warning. This will go through the entirety of the weekend as we're expecting the sleet, the freezing rain, even a little bit of snow to create hazardous travel. So let me run you through the timeline of what it looks like here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and North Texas. Friday, it's just rain. It's going to be a cold rain, though. Temperatures start in the upper 40s Friday morning, then we fall all day long into the 30s by Friday night. This is noon. See the scattered light rain across all of North Texas. There's 3 p.m. Showers will continue, but you start to see this pink stuff. Look here. It's a wintry mix. The mix will consist of freezing rain and eventually sleet, and that line will continue to drop farther and farther south into North Texas as we get into late Friday night. This is 10 p.m. Scattered rain still for the Metroplex. Our Red River counties start to transition to freezing rain and sleet by midnight. Freezing rain starts to move into the Metroplex by 3 a.m. Essentially the I-20 corridor north, it's freezing rain and a little bit of sleet. South of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, it will take a little bit longer. Okay, closer to daybreak, that's when that starts to shift farther and farther to the south. Now this is 8 o'clock in the morning Saturday. All of Saturday, it's on and off freezing rain, sleet, and even a little bit of snow up toward the Red River. But this is 3 p.m. Saturday. Saturday evening, it's just a widespread wintry mix across all of North Texas before eventually transitioning to a brief period of light snow early Sunday morning. And then by finally Sunday afternoon, this all moves out. Our region is expecting 1/4 to 1/2 inch of freezing rain to accumulate. This will cause slick travel, not only on bridges and overpasses, main roads, highways, could lead to some power outages in the area. We will be watching that very carefully. In addition to that, 2 to 4 inches of a snow and sleet mix for the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Higher totals along the Red River, 1 to 2 inches of sleet down toward Waxahachie, Corsicana, and Hillsboro. So we're expecting conditions to really start to deteriorate here in North Texas in our far northern counties from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. For the Dallas-Fort Worth area, 2 o'clock in the morning to 6 a.m. Farther to the south, a little bit later in the morning on Saturday, 6 to 10 a.m. And we're not getting above freezing until Tuesday afternoon. That means the road conditions that get bad on Saturday will likely linger even into Tuesday. That's what it looks like here in North Texas. I want to kick things down to our friends in Austin.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Hunter Williams here in Austin, Texas, and this is what we're expecting here in our neck of the woods as we go to the weekend. So, Arctic air coming in, obviously. We have a light to moderate freezing rain and sleet accumulation in our forecast, especially for Saturday evening through Saturday night. This will not be the most significant winter storm we've seen here over the past couple of years, but it will be enough to give us some slick travel and even a few isolated power outages. And it's also going to get cold. We don't want to forget about that. 36 to 48 hours below freezing, and especially Monday morning, we're looking at serious cold, like air temperatures down in the teens and wind chills that could be single digits. New update today, winter storm warning now in effect for all of our KHOU areas, 6 a.m. Saturday to noon Sunday. Ice accumulations, the general thinking is say 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch, but there could be isolated pockets, 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch. And keep in mind, I think we're also going to have some sleet in the mix too, so that also causes travel issues. But in some spots, maybe it's some sleet accumulation and less ice. But either way, this icy mix is coming in. All right, here's the model data. Here's Friday morning, mild 60s. Showers as we get into the afternoon and evening of Friday, but no wintry stuff at all. But this shows you how dynamic this system is. Look at this. So here's 9 p.m. As the front starts to get closer to us, we have downpours and maybe even thunderstorms that develop. So this could be heavy rain. And then we go into 3 a.m. So this first big shield of precipitation coming through. This model is pretty quick with the arrival of the cold air and actually has the potential for a little wintry mix early Saturday. I can't rule it out, but I think the greater window is going to be late day Saturday. If we saw stuff early in the day, I don't think we'd have major travel issues from it yet. Okay, noon, 34. Here's 5, 33. but already dropping in the hill country below freezing. So that pink, that's that icy mix, which is going to be mainly freezing rain and sleet for us. So here's 7 p.m., here's 9, here's 11. We just have widespread icy mix moving through, and folks have been asking, well, do we have any snow in the forecast? I guess I can't completely rule out a little bit of snow mixing in with some sleet on the very back end of this, but this primarily is going to be icy for us and not snowy. So here's 3 a.m., 5:30 into 6 a.m., and then precip is moving out, and we're going to be down to a hard freeze, so temperatures in the 20s, if not the teens, over some areas by Sunday morning. That graph model I just showed you here, the accumulations it is printing out in this generally is in line with our forecast. Broad brush, 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch of ice. Especially down southeast of Austin, could there be areas maybe a little bit less than that, but I think generally we're in that 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch range. Isolated amounts could be up to a 1/2 inch though, especially over parts of Williamson County, especially over parts of the hill country and maybe over parts of Williamson County. Here's our 7-day forecast here in Austin. So cold front coming through Friday night, dropping. I know this looks weird. 40s morning, 30s by afternoon, then below freezing with an icy mix. Saturday evening, Saturday night, moving out Sunday. Could be below freezing all day on Sunday, and then Monday morning, a hard freeze with our coldest air here in Austin so far this season. That's what's going on in Central Texas. Here's a look at the forecast across other parts of our state.
I'm KHOU 11 Chief Meteorologist David Paul. Here's what we're expecting from this winter storm in the Houston area. And in a nutshell, in southeast Texas, Houston, Galveston, Saturday is a rainy and cold day, but we're above freezing. So it's wet roads on Saturday. Saturday night into the first half of Sunday is when we expect things to turn icy here in Houston, Galveston, with an icy mix and freezing rain looking more likely as models have been updating and coming in quite cold and quite wet. For southeast Texas and Houston, Friday night, we watch a line of thunderstorms move into the area. 6:30 in the morning Saturday, rain, but ice is to the north of the Houston area. So we're all wet Saturday with liquid with temperatures above freezing, maybe even a thunderstorm. As that exits Saturday afternoon, it will open the door to a cold second surge of cold air to come in. So that means by Saturday night, 9 p.m., here in southeast Texas, Brenham College Station, Huntsville, begin to drop below freezing with precip coming in. That's freezing rain beginning late Saturday evening. We go past midnight into the wee hours of Sunday morning. This is when things could be at their worst for Houston and southeast Texas. 3:30 in the morning, below freezing El Campo, Katy below freezing, Bush near freezing, Cleveland at freezing, Conroe below freezing. This could cause significant icing just north and west of the Houston metro. And then as we move forward overnight, more icing could occur right in the heart of the Houston metroplex. But for sure, getting to the northwest side, this is going to put ice on bridges and overpasses and make travel very dangerous, if not impossible. By Sunday, 8 a.m., it's pushing to the eastern counties, which are going to be near freezing. So even places like Mont Belvieu and Liberty and Cleveland get in on a chance for some ice Sunday morning before it finally exits, and our threat here comes to an end. Now let's talk about the ice. You get a trace to a 1/4 inch. That really doesn't do a whole lot for power outages. We say okay, but it does make for dangerous travel, as even that little bit will ice up the bridges and overpasses. You get to 3/4 of an inch accumulation on the branches and power lines. That's where you could see widespread tree damage and power outages. So for Houston, specifically our area, for the moment, modeling forecasts levels of ice sticking to power lines and limbs that are below emergency levels. We could see some isolated power outages, but between 1/10 and we'll say 1/4 of an inch. That would not be bad, but the reason we are watching this like a hawk is because just to the north of the official Houston area, we've got forecasted 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch ice accumulations, and were that to occur in the Houston metro, we would have significant power issues. So we're watching it all just super carefully. Big winter storm warning across Texas. There's Houston officially still under a winter storm watch. And quickly, the cold, these are wind chill factors. Sunday morning, wind chills in the 20s and teens across southeast Texas. The coldest morning will be Monday morning with wind chill factors in the teens and single digits here across southeast Texas and Houston. And that's why we have the extreme cold watch, which is also in effect for we here in Houston. That's what we're looking like. Let's go to San Antonio and get the update there.
Hello, I'm Bill Taylor in San Antonio. Here's the weather impact alert on the timing, the impact, and then what you need to do. First off, Saturday, wet and windy, so it's today and tomorrow to finish the home preparations for a weekend indoors. On Saturday morning, the front arrives. It's going to be a cold rain most of the day, but by Saturday night, it changes over to a freezing drizzle, maybe a little bit of sleet mixed in. Doesn't appear that we get to freezing temperatures until Saturday evening. And that's, of course, when things will change with precipitation. Sunday morning is when we have the leftover precipitation and temperatures in the upper 20s, producing some freezing drizzle, a little bit of sleet and freezing rain is possible. Make sure you have the download ready on the KENS 5 app as well as KENS 5 Plus on your television. Our very likely is the strong cold front late Friday, early Saturday. Temperatures in the 30s all weekend, even into Monday. And then what's possible is a sleet and freezing rain as San Antonio sits at the bottom of this winter storm event. So Saturday night and Sunday morning, the best timing on that possibility of the wintry mix. What's not likely in the Alamo City is a heavy ice accumulation or snowfall. Please remember the people, the pets, the plants, and the pipes as we head into this weekend. And once you put those precautions in place, keep them in place through at least middle part of next week, because we've got some hard freezing temperatures once the moisture moves out. We could see a couple of isolated thunderstorms. It'll be as early as about 6 or 7 p.m. Friday, and it's going to be near Canyon Lake in New Braunfels as well as near Fredericksburg. But as we roll into the overnight, look at this. Thunderstorms expected from Lakey down towards Del Rio and Eagle Pass. This is midnight where we get a couple of isolated storms into the city, but a lot more and better coverage along the 281 corridor as we get into 4 a.m. Saturday. Now notice we're starting to see some of this change over into some sleet around Kerrville and Fredericksburg. That first batch is out, and by noon Saturday, a couple of isolated areas of rain, a really good chance of it, and then you start seeing the temperature drop. We get to 6 or 7 p.m., we're below freezing, or at least 30 at Bernie, Kerrville, 28, Rock Springs, and Fredericksburg. And that's when we're going to see some of this, of course, sleet falling, and it could even dip into northern Bexar County as well as Comal County near New Braunfels. So Austin into San Antonio, and you can definitely see we dropped to freezing by 9:30, 10 p.m. Saturday night. And that's when we're expecting to see some of that sleet mixing in. Another batch, this should be the last band of precipitation, and it's going to be early Sunday, 2 to 3 a.m. before everything exits to the east. Keep in mind, strong winds and wind chills on Sunday morning could be as low as about 10 to 12 degrees in the city. The latest ice accumulation forecast does have about 0.02 of 1 inch into San Antonio. It's going to be across 1604 from about I-10 east through I-35, and so it would be communities like Stone Oak, Bulverde, Timberwood Park. Then you get to Bernie, and you've got nearly 1/4 of an inch to about the same at Kerrville, maybe the same up around Fredericksburg. So again, it's going to be a dangerous situation once we get to Saturday night and early Sunday. Stay off the roads if you can. The blessing is that this is happening over a weekend. Now let's take a look at what you can expect in East Texas.
I'm meteorologist Brett Anthony in Tyler. Our weather impact alert goes into effect Friday night and lasts through Monday at noon as we expect a weekend ice storm here in East Texas. Freezing rain, bitter Arctic cold. The need, of course, is to avoid driving and to find a warm shelter when you can, and also have your pets sheltered up. Now is the time to winterize your home. Winter storm warning in effect Friday morning through noon on Sunday for most of East Texas, and then deep East Texas has a winter storm watch right now. We will wait and see when this is upgraded to the winter storm warning. On top of that, we have an extreme cold watch and warning. The extreme cold watch in light blue, extreme cold warning in dark blue for Anderson, Henderson, Van Zant, and Rains County. Our storm system that we're watching for the weekend, it's still off the west coast, getting closer, and as it gets closer, the clouds are increasing here in East Texas. In fact, we found ourselves with mainly a cloudy day, but a dry day and a cool day with temperatures hovering around 60 degrees. Waking up Friday morning, grab the umbrella. Temperatures, though, well above freezing. We have light rain moving in until we get to noon, and then the rain picks up, becomes heavier as we head into the afternoon. But notice temperatures still well above freezing until we get into Friday night. Then along Interstate 30, we start to see the temperatures falling below freezing, and that's when we'll start to see the changeover to freezing rain. And this predominantly for East Texas will be a freezing rain event. You can still see 3 a.m. Saturday, deep East Texas above freezing, but that doesn't last long. By Saturday morning, all of us are into the freezing rain. There might be a little lull in the afternoon, but then the main show arrives Saturday night. Heavy freezing rain at times, especially overnight into Sunday morning, could end as a little bit of snow. Storm severity index here in East Texas now considered major, with considerable disruptions, avoiding travel, widespread closure, and power outages are possible. There is a chance in East Texas to see 3/4 to an inch of ice accumulation. Most of this will be freezing rain between Friday night and Sunday at noon. The purple area there corresponding with 3/4 of an inch to about an inch of ice. So a devastating ice storm possible. 1/10 of an inch of ice causes a light glaze on roadways and sidewalks. When we get to a 1/4 inch of ice, that's when we start to see tree limbs break and sag, and then a 1/2 inch of ice, which is what we could see in parts of the area, will cause dangerous travel, widespread tree damage, and long-term power outages. Here's our Baylor Scott & White Texas Spine Joint Hospital 7-day forecast. So 90% chance of rain Friday, temperatures above freezing, but by the time we wake up Saturday, it's changed over to freezing rain. Saturday afternoon, we're still below freezing. In fact, here in East Texas, we expect to see 60 consecutive hours of below freezing temperatures. Sunday, the coldest of those days, 22 in the morning, 23 in the afternoon, then down to 12 Monday morning. Here's what to expect in Waco and Temple.
I'm KCE and Chief Meteorologist Matt Farrell. Here's a look at the winter weather we're expecting this weekend in central Texas. In terms of our weather impact alert, again, late Friday through Monday morning. That's going to be the time frame, again, for your Friday. Liquid rain, that's what we're expecting. However, it does transition into that wintry precipitation as we head into Saturday. We're going to talk about the timing on that here in just a second. But the other aspect here that we're looking at, those very cold temperatures. So make sure you continue to pay attention to the forecast. And remember your 4 Ps throughout the weekend: your pets, your pipes, your plants, and your people. And again, limit travel, as we could see that ice accumulation on area roads. Winter storm warning. This was upgraded from a watch to a warning. Again, higher confidence, potentially those impacts being just a little bit worse. That's why that was upgraded. Accumulating ice, that's going to be our main concern as far as travel goes. But those temperatures, they're going to be very cold in the morning hours. We're going to have to keep an eye on that too. So I'm going to show you 2 forecast models here. One simulation's a very aggressive one. The other one is more conservative. And we'll talk about where I think it kind of ends up falling as we get towards the end of these 2 simulations. But for Friday, both models in agreement that it's just liquid rain. It's going to be a cold rain by the end of the day. There's no doubt about that. Freezing rain on this particular simulation comes in as we head through the overnight hours Friday night into Saturday morning. That's very early. That's very aggressive. It does give us a break by Saturday morning, but then brings in wave number 2 for Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. That part I think we're okay with. It's going to be that start time that I think this model is a little too aggressive on. Let's take a look at this second simulation. Again, liquid rain for your Friday, and then here comes that freezing line as we head towards Saturday. Again, it only has it in our far northwestern counties by 6:30, 7 o'clock. And then we put this back in motion. You start to see a sprinkling of that freezing rain here as we head towards the noon hour. So where's the truth? As it so often is, probably in the middle. So for our northwestern communities, I'm going to go 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. in terms of the arrival time of that freezing precipitation, 10 a.m. to noon for most of central Texas. And then for the Brazos Valley, I'm going about noon to about 2 o'clock. So that's the timing that I'm looking at right now. How much ice could we possibly see? Well, we're looking at 1/4 to 1/2 an inch potentially over the course of the weekend. Why is that a problem? Well, 1/4 of an inch is kind of that magic number where it really starts to cause some issues with power lines, tree branches, and of course with travel as well. So anything over 1/4 of an inch could lead to some serious problems. We'll have to keep an eye on that throughout the course of the weekend. Also looking at those temperatures, we have an extreme cold warning in effect from Saturday evening through noon Monday. Very, very cold weather. I'm going to show you worst case scenario here. So this is what we could be seeing as we wake up Sunday morning. Wind chill values in the 1 to 10 degree range. Again, you have to have every inch of skin covered if you're walking out in temperatures that look like this. Again, these aren't the temperatures, these are the wind chills. This is what it's going to feel like on any exposed skin. Monday morning could be even colder than that. We're looking at wind chill values potentially 0 to -10. Again, that's worst case scenario for us. We'll keep an eye on it throughout the course of the weekend. Let's see what's going on down in Beaumont.
Hello, I'm Chief Meteorologist Patrick Vaughn in Beaumont. We've issued a weather impact alert coming up for this weekend. You've got one more day to prepare. Very mild weather on Friday. Falling temperatures and wet weather expected Saturday as a Arctic air mass moves on in. Could see a little freezing rain in northern portions of our viewing area, followed by 2 hard, long duration freezes. Again, that weather impact alert for freezing rain up in our lakes area, and then very cold weather Monday into Tuesday. We expect the potential for some ice because of freezing rain, mainly north of the triangle up in towards the lakes area of southeast Texas. Coldest weather of the season as we head on in to Monday and Tuesday mornings. A winter storm watch is in effect, and again, the freezing rain chances continue to dwindle along I-10. It looks very unlikely up towards our northern viewing area, up towards Jasper and East Texas Lakes area, rather than the triangle at this point. As far as ice accumulation, again, as it could be maybe a 1/10 of an inch up towards the lakes area. Not to say it won't happen in the triangle, but it looks very unlikely, and mainly up towards the lakes area in southeast Texas. The difference between freezing rain and sleet, think of freezing rain as the glaze on a donut, but sleet is like little BBs of ice. They bounce when they fall, and those sprinkles on the donut are kind of like those ice pellets or sleet. A cold weather advisory is going to be in effect over the weekend as we expect wind chills Monday morning into the teens. That's in addition to low temperatures into the upper teens to lower and middle 20s. So it is going to be windy and cold across southeast Texas. Fast forward into Tuesday morning. This will be the coldest morning. We expect temperatures to get down into the mid-teens in the lakes area, upper teens to lower 20s here in the triangle. This is pipe busting weather. You need to prepare for this, and also check in with the elderly. Be careful with space heaters, and also make sure you have plenty of antifreeze over the weekend. So tonight looks pretty quiet across southeast Texas, maybe some sprinkles and fog with lows in the low to mid 50s and upper 50s here in the triangle. Tomorrow, 10 to 20% coverage as high temperatures under cloudy skies get into the low to mid 60s across the area. On the Gulf, slightly choppy seas around 2 feet are expected and an easterly wind. Our forecast tonight, cloudy with patchy fog, low to mid 50s lakes, mid to upper 50s triangle. Then for the tomorrow, your last warm day, 10 to 20% coverage, highs low to mid 60s. A weather impact alert is expected Saturday because of a good chance of rain. And then on Sunday morning between 6 a.m. and 2 p.m., that's when we expect the potential for freezing rain up in the lakes area, followed by activity moving out on Sunday, much colder Monday and Tuesday. Here's what to expect in Midland and Odessa.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Frazier in Midland and Odessa. All right, let's take a look at the future temperatures and what it's going to feel like as we head into this winter weather weekend. All right, starting off your Friday morning, not too bad. A couple of 30s and 40s, 50s farther south. Then we start to see the impacts of that front coming in the late afternoon, evening. Couple of those 40s popping up on there. And then we take that big time tumble into Saturday morning. Wind chills easily dipping down into the teens. It's all going to really depend on exactly how much of that ice and snow accumulation is expected that we will see those impacts. Single digit wind chills heading into early Sunday morning, lots of widespread teens, even a few of those negatives popping up, especially the farther to the northeast that you go. And then Monday, well, Monday we finally get above freezing by the afternoon, but not by much. Still going to be hanging around a lot of those 30s in the meantime. Okay, so what can we expect over the next couple of days? Well, for much of your Friday, we're going to see a lot of that heavy cloud cover starting to turn into that early rainfall, but then by the afternoon, okay, some of that starts to already change its way over to that freezing rain. That freezing rain impact are going to last all the way throughout Friday evening, but then calm down during the overnight hours, leaving us with just overcast skies. And then we start to see more and more of that freezing rain building up by the later part of Saturday, turning into snow into the early part of the morning. Okay, you know what? And that snow is going to hang around just a little bit before it only affects the higher elevations by early Sunday afternoon. And then it clears out and we are good to go. All right, so if we do see some significant snowfall, what are we expecting? Well, we're still under that winter storm warning, meaning we could see about 1 to 3 inches of accumulation on and along Interstate 20 as well as farther north. Max I'm seeing right now about close to 2.5 for Snyder, a little over 2 in Artesia. Carlsbad, Guadalupe Pass, I want to say these numbers should be a little bit higher, but expect either trace amounts to some decent stuff that you might need to shovel out of that driveway. Those travel alerts in the meantime, you want to make sure you got those headlights on. We're going to have low visibility, low clouds. It's going to be very slick on the roads. I don't recommend driving unless absolutely necessary, and if you do, please take it slow. Have that defroster on for that ice accumulation, because what you need to know is we got those impacts from Friday afternoon until Monday morning. Wind chills near 0, ice and snow accumulation amounts of about 1 to 3 inches. Protect the people, pets, pipes, and plants in the meantime. Okay, so what I'm looking at here, we're going impact alert through Monday, because afterwards we finally warm back up.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Carly Smith here in Corpus Christi, Texas, and the big question for us here in South Texas is, will it freeze, especially at the same time we're getting some rain in the area. Now, freezing temperatures a guarantee across North Texas, areas along and north of I-10, still a little bit of a question mark. And for us south of Interstate 10, this is where things do get tricky in the forecast. We're on the southern end of the storm, and kind of like what we're used to tropical systems, you know, if the path shifts just a little bit to the north or to the south, that'll change the impact felt locally a lot. This is the same scenario. If the system tracks a little bit more south, we could see colder temperatures. If it tracks a little bit more north, we may not see as much rain. And so a big question mark still at play for us heading into Sunday morning, but Sunday morning is our best shot at getting some freezing rain if the rain and the freezing temperatures line up. Right now we are tracking some thunderstorms possible overnight into Saturday morning. This is while we're still warm. We're talking highs in the 70s there Saturday before the cold front swings through. Once the front swings through, we still have a chance for some overrunning showers and thunderstorms in the area. This is when we start to see the chance of freezing rain. That's going to be Sunday night or Saturday night heading into Sunday morning. Let me say that again. Saturday night heading into Sunday morning, a chance for some freezing rain to mix in. But again, it's a big question mark on whether we will be freezing or not, and that could drastically change our conditions. But if you're headed out and about and the temperature is above freezing, you don't have to worry about ice on the roads. If it's below freezing and raining, then that may be a sign just to hold off, wait to head out until the rain comes to an end. Off and on Saturday is when we're going to see those rain showers and even some thunderstorms. Brief window of that freezing rain Sunday morning. Freezing temperatures Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. The coldest day for us is going to be Monday morning. Add 10 to 25 mile per hour winds to that, and that's going to put our wind chills down in the teens, which is dangerously cold for us. So our main impacts, rain. That's impact number 1. That's on Saturday. Best shot at those showers and thunderstorms is across our northern counties, isolated areas. We're talking 1 to 2 inches, but that's a better possibility closer to San Antonio. A light glaze of freezing rain is possible, mostly, again, across our northern counties. This is where freezing temperatures are a high probability. It's likely across the majority of the coastal bend Sunday morning, and then a possibility for the beach. Temperatures on Monday, 25. That will near a record low. Right now, that record low is 23 degrees. And your 7-day forecast, we're highlighting Saturday for the front and the changing weather pattern, as well as that off and on chance of rain and thunderstorms. Then 30% chance of rain Sunday morning. Could be freezing rain with a low of 32. 25 on Monday. We are highlighting that as a weather impact alert day. That also is our coldest morning. Then still a chance of freezing temperatures on your Tuesday morning. Thanks for watching. Stay with us throughout the winter storm as conditions change. You know, we'll have updates right here on our free streaming app.